Joining us now, Stephen K. Bannon of War Room Pandemic, 10 to noon, John Fredericks Radio Network, Monday to Saturday, also on AVN Live, The Dish Channel 219, Newsmax, 11 to midnight. Steve, great to have you, man. I was excited to have you on today especially. Thank you.
Always an honor, John, and thank you. Tomorrow, John Frederick, is a pretty important day. You know what tomorrow is?
What?
The 1-year anniversary of the starting of the War Room on the John Fredericks Radio Network. 1 year ago tomorrow.
No kidding.
We launched 1 year tomorrow. The producer Dan told me yesterday we're going to do a very special show tomorrow. I think I may have a very special co-host that we're going to ask you to join us, and we're going to really kick it off. War Room Impeachment started 1 year ago tomorrow, and the show has metastasized, become, I think, it's the biggest show in the world.
That's the biggest show in the world. Look, there is no question, and it was visionary what you and I did back, and I remember, and just to give, I don't want to eat up time here, but Steve and I talked on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock exactly. It was just before one of the football games came on. We talked at like 12:30, and in one day, on Tuesday, right? That was 48 hours.
Yeah.
We had a radio show going live across the nation, set up in at the embassy there, the Breitbart Embassy.
You produced the whole entire thing. Your Richmond team was amazing. We launched it within 24 hours.
24 hours we launched it.
And Brian Colfage, this nonsense with the Southern District of New York, the reason we could launch nationally is because all the work Brian Colfage had done for me. To basically provide a platform that I had at Breitbart that we needed, much smaller, but we were able to launch a national show with the John Fredericks Radio Network and what we had done on Facebook and other things, able to launch it in that tiny show, right, with the content. It's all about content.
Yeah, it was the
right?
content is king, and we set up. I drove to Richmond because I was at home that day in Virginia Beach. I drove to Richmond. I scoured up whatever microphones and other loose equipment I had. Then I went to my studio in Washington. I took stuff out of there. I piecemealed the whole thing together, put the network in. We got the internet up in one day, and that was all done on Monday. We did a test on Monday, and then Tuesday at 10, was at 9 a.m., Tuesday at 9 a.m., we went live. That's pretty good.
No, it just shows you what an entrepreneur you are. But listen, this is, and we would never thought that, 2 weeks out, because we're 2 weeks out from game day, that this, your Deplorables channel, which you've become, I think, the best. I tell people, if you want to see all over the world, journalists call me and say, if you want to see what the Deplorables are thinking, listen to John Fredericks and listen to his callers.
Thank you.
Because that's what the Breitbart radio used to be. I said, John Fredericks has got it. He's got his hand on the pulse, and just listen to it. And I got to tell you, I've never had a foreign journalist, I've never had a national journalist come back and say, I think you're wrong. Everybody says it's amazing. If you want, because you get all the kind of misdirection plays by the mainstream media. If you want to hear what people are thinking about, want to hear where they are. And look, here's what I think is important today. Joe Biden peaked 3 weeks too early, and now he's in the witness protection program. Why is he in the witness protection program? Because we dropped these emails on him at the exactly perfect time where he could not. Now, if we'd had the debate last week, it would have been more perfect. But be that as it may, these things they've traumatized the Biden campaign. He is now in a witness protection program. Okay, he is traumatized. They can't respond to it. They're letting their media Praetorian Guard out there saying it's Russian ops. Everybody knows that's nonsense. That's fading away even as we speak. They're going to have to confront more emails. They're going to confront emails from other people. We're going to have Matthew Turman on today, who's a fabulous investigative journalist, been working with Peter Schweitzer and Jack Posobiec over at One America. They have a trove of 26,000 emails, and a guy that is, I think his name's Devin Cooney, who's a former business partner, Hunter Biden, who's flipped. Right, completely flipped. Turman's been talking to him in federal prison, I think, for the last couple of years. This guy's coming out with, he's going to be on the show today. There's all types of new documents out here. Off of the hard drive, you're going to see media companies coming out with stories in the next 24 to 48 hours before the debate on Thursday that show that these guys are having meetings and in business with the Chinese Communist Party intelligence assets, intelligence operatives. This is not about a drug problem or a wayward son. This is about a father who knowingly allowed this to happen and was part of it. Okay, Joe Biden has to answer these questions, not Hunter Biden. People don't care about Hunter Biden. People care about Joe Biden. Joe Biden wants to be commander-in-chief. Joe Biden wants to be the chief magistrate of the United States. Joe Biden wants to be president of the United States. He is going to have to stand and deliver on Thursday night in front of the whole nation with Donald Trump beating him about the head and shoulders about this. He's going to have to answer every one of these emails, every one of these allegations, and he better be on point. I got to tell you, unlike Hillary Clinton, who I always called a hard target, right? He's a soft target. Hillary Clinton, whether you like her or hate her, had been through 20 years of the right all over her, okay? She was ready. She was game ready, and she couldn't even take the withering fire we put on her, okay? Joe Biden is soft. He's never been touched in 47 years, right? He's up in Delaware, never really had an opponent. In the Obama years, it was President Obama taking the heat, not Joe Biden. Joe Biden is gliding. He's a glad-hander, right? Right now, for the first time in his life, with 3 weeks to go in a presidential campaign, he's getting the withering fire that the right can put on him with documents, with information that he's not prepared. His campaign staff has been a disaster. They put him on TV on Sunday. This reporter or this host for Fox Sunday, it's a master class. He teaches a master class on how to not let people spin, but ask direct questions and not let them off the hook. The young woman's on there, completely melts down, basically says, yes, the emails are authentic, right? They've pulled her from TV. She's going to be on the bench until after the campaign. But you're seeing they peaked, and Trump is starting to surge. And let me be very specific. Politico's got a story today about Corey and Bossie and some other guys helping out on 16. It's fine. But that's not – what's relevant is the buried lead about 10 paragraphs down, Bob Paduchek, who ran Ohio for us in 16, knows Ohio better than anybody. Was the guy that was the first guy to tell me, you don't need to come back, we got this. When Paduchek tells it, you can take that to the bank and cash it, okay? He's saying right now you don't need to come back to Ohio. Okay, this is so important. What Trump is doing, he's now surging in the areas of the states you need to surge in. He's surging in Florida. He's surging in Pennsylvania. And where the Biden campaign is structurally not set up to actually run a campaign. They're running a 1996 model where you buy a bunch of TV advertising. It was Van Jones last night on CNN laid it out. Van Jones is a smart guy, whether you like him or not. Beside the point, he's a smart guy. He walked through the entire analysis, and he gets down to the fact that this is about low propensity voters and this is about touch points. They're low propensity voters for a reason. You got to go get them and get them to the polls, right? You can't persuade
That's a ground
them to
game.
the polls.
It's
a ground game. Why is Stepien? Stepien is not running this campaign because of chance. When it was determined that Brad needed to step aside back in June, I was the biggest advocate of saying, because people had come to me, some of the donors, I said, no, I got other stuff I got to do that you'll see all come to fruition. I said, but the guy you got to pick Bill Stepien, and you throw in a Jason Miller and a Greg Manns and a Steve Cortez and a couple other guys. You got a team. That's your team. Because this is all going to come down in the weeks leading up to this to ground game in areas like certain areas of Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, even Arizona. And so this is what you're seeing now. This is the media's got to blame themselves. Their hysteria on covering the pandemic led to being traumatized, not just traumatized their voters, it traumatized their entire apparatus. They can't put together, and you heard Ralph Reed on our show on Monday. Why did I have Ralph Reed on there? Ralph Reed is one of the most sophisticated operatives in all of Republican politics.
Right.
And he's also a guy, the first time I met him, he said, it's all about ground game. It's all about voter contact. It's a lesson that Obama learned in 08 and 12. Mm-hmm. The Tea Party in 10, Obama in 8 and 12. And you had in 18, the reason we got smoked in 18, the left understood you had to take the Tea Party thing and go knock on doors. They're not knocking on doors. They don't have a ground game to go do that. The people are smart. They're telling them. That's why the Biden campaign came out this weekend. Said, don't believe the polls. This polling is basically irrelevant right now. People shouldn't focus on it and don't worry about it. The only thing that's relevant is knocking on doors and getting people to go vote. Mm-hmm. That is what's going to determine this is low propensity voters. And you saw last night a little bit of the fear in a guy like Van Jones, a smart guy. I think they feel this could slip away from them, and it's going to slip away from them.
They're feeling it.
Look, if we put Arizona in Florida with Ohio, then it all comes down to Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. All you need is one. We don't need, and I keep telling people, We don't need 306 electoral votes. It was great that we had that.
We need 270.
You need 270, right? We need 270, and you need a path to 270 right now. And here's the thing. At the very moment that Joe Biden has to be out making the case to the American people, because they're not watching MSNBC and CNN. They're covering him nonstop. That's as close to being irrelevant as possible. They're not watching that, okay? They're watching local news. And if you're not on local news there, right, you're not getting covered. Joe Biden needs to be in these areas in local news, and he's in the witness protection program for the 5 most important days. What is he doing? Studying more policy? Is he getting more details about the Green New Deal?
No, he doesn't want to answer the questions.
It's all irrelevant. Nobody cares about his tax plan. I think they know that's all junk anyway. He doesn't even want to talk about it. He's 3 sentences into it, he's forgotten what he's talking about. The reason they have him in hiding during the absolute days he should be out there in person is they can't even take a compliant media. CBS, the guy at CBS ask a basic question every time. He just asks a simple question. Hey, can you validate the emails? It's simple. He's not trying to get in this guy's face. Joe Biden, I knew you were going to ask that. You're nothing but a smear merchant. Hey, Joe, note to self. It's CBS. Okay, it's the biggest cheerleader you have. Right, it's the guys that did 60 Minutes with Fauci. Let Fauci beat up the president nonstop.
The follow-up.
When they become a smear merchant, when you treat them like Breitbart,
right,
that shows you they're not ready. This is the thing, and this is why Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, this is your responsibility. You failed to do this. Bernie Sanders, again, failed to bring the heat in a primary, and so did Elizabeth Warren. All of this should have come out. You should have been all over this China stuff. It was out there. You didn't need the emails to know in the community that he was out there selling access to his father, to the Chinese Communist Party. It was an open secret. People knew it. And I got to tell you, Tony Blinken knew it. Kurt Campbell knew it. Jake Sullivan knew it. The guys all sitting there going, oh, they want to be in charge of China policy. They all knew it. This was an open secret. The media just had the New York Times. The CNN should put the K file on this. You put the file on this, or the Washington Post. You put Tom Hamburger on this, all the information would have been out a year ago, and Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren would have been the nominee. Okay, so the populace left. You brought this on yourself. Once again, you had a pillow fight. Okay, not a knife fight. And these primaries should be knife fights. That's who the best guy wins. They should be Darwinian, and they're not in the Democratic Party. Once again, you have a guy, he's not ready for prime time. He's soft. And the people around him are soft. And now you're going to be put in the cauldron of heat, okay? And he's not going to be able to withstand it. It's to tell he's not being able to withstand it. He completely gone radio silent, except for, he had his granddaughter for a milkshake on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, put that in remember that moment. Okay? That's another tell. Don't want to get into too much detail right now, but that's a tell. Why does Joe Biden finally trying to show up with the granddaughter to go get a milkshake? The one media veil he has is going to get a milkshake with the granddaughter. Please put a pin in that, okay? And by the way, what are the questions that the media are asking? What flavor?
What flavor? They asked them what flavor.
This is going to be a seminal moment. They will teach that moment at Columbia Journalism School when they clean out that place, okay,
right,
and really start teaching journalism in the years to come. But
what flavor did you get?
Duly note and put a pin in that, because that one's going to be replayed, I think, a couple of 3 times in the days ahead. This is the point. The point is Trump is surging, that Biden peaked too early, that this is going to come down to a couple of, just like in 2016, this is going to come down to some targeted areas, and they can run they've got 10 times more money than Trump. The situation of the Trump money will be a discussion for another day. Okay,
another day.
You don't need to worry about how we got here and how this
doesn't
happened.
matter. You got 2 weeks.
It's Donald Trump is the greatest fundraiser in human history, and Kimberly Guilfoyle and these people have done. They are unbelievable. How we're out of money and how he has to spend a day in California. That's a topic for November 4th, okay,
right,
in the hot wash-up. Okay?
That's right.
But what is now is that it's not about money. It's about message, and it's about the individual. We got the greatest closer that's ever been. We were in worse shape coming out of Billy Bush.
That's right.
Okay, after we closed this thing up from the 14 points down, he was in August. Trump closed up. We were in worse shape coming out of Billy Bush. And the whole Republican establishment, but here, they're standing. Some of them are standing back. Back then, they were fleeing. Okay,
mm-hmm.
We're in better shape. I tell you, the vote on glorious ACB is critical. And you saw last night. This is Roberts. And I've said this from time at the beginning. Roberts is a bad guy. Okay, every time it comes down to crunch time, he's going to side with the liberals.
Why does he side with the liberals?
Because he's a liberal. Because of Bush, another disaster of the Republican establishment not vetting somebody. All three judges here were vetted, and what were they vetted on? Their writings. Okay, right. They were vetted on their writings. They were vetted on their opinions. They were vetted on things that really show who they are. Judges are about their opinions. Their opinions are in writing. Right. Frankfurter, Brandeis, all these guys. You go back, that's what Don McGahn and Leonard Leo, who essentially saved the whole thing on the judiciary because they were hammers on one thing. A judge lives in his writings, and that's where glorious ACB, we need her on the court, and we need her now. You're going to have one disaster after the other with Roberts.
All right, Steve, let's get to the New York Post story. I've heard rumors all last night that another major news network is finally going to break the dam, the corral they put around the New York Post story, and blow it out of the ocean today. True or false?
Let's say this: there's mainstream media, there's so much different information. You have this other 26,000 emails. You have affidavits from people. You have what's on the hard drive. You have a flood of information that's going to overwhelm the Bidens.
When's it come out?
You have mainstream media. Well, you have mainstream media that's working on something. It depends. Listen, don't think there's not pressure on these editors. Don't think there's not pressure from the Democratic Party and from other media and financial apparatus, the hedge funds, etc., saying, hey, Biden's going to win. You publish the stuff. We're taking names. We're going to remember this. The pressure on these companies, the pressure on them. But look, the lie that's in Mediaite should be ashamed. It's a stone-cold lie. We never gave this. We never gave the hard drive, and we never approached Fox News at first. We approached one company with the hard drive. That was the New York Post. I did approach another company that's not Fox without the hard drive to talk about the timing, and they told me, quite frankly, they couldn't make the timing. Right, and so I didn't pursue it anymore. But it's a lie. Fox News never turned this down.
What made you go to the Post?
Because Rupert Murdoch and there's extremely smart management team. They got great lawyers. They got Rupert Murdoch. They know how to assess risk. I knew they could take a look at this thing. They got the technical expertise, and they're a tabloid, and they got steel cojones, right? And I knew that someone like that was going to take the withering fire. They've broken a lot of tough stories over the years, right? This is a paper, although it's a tabloid. It's Alexander Hamilton's paper.
It's 180 years old.
It's one of the oldest papers it's the oldest major paper in the country. It's the top 3 or 4 papers in the country. It's read everywhere online globally, right? It's a perfect audience for this, and they also know how to do it. But listen, the Daily Mail has taken the lead here in taking all the stories and repurposing them and driving things. The traffic on the Daily Mail, which is the largest site in the world, has just that in the New York Post. People, the mainstream media and the Biden campaign don't think the story's getting out. They're absolutely stone cold wrong. And there's other mainstream media, I think, prepared to break the dam here with major exposés. And I think a lot of this is going to be regarding, guess what? Surprise, China. The Chinese situation and the Biden's involvement in China, whether it's the private equity fund, other relationships with Chinese Energy Corp, other joint ventures, other relationships with people that turned out to be either intelligence officers or intelligence assets that were playing the Bidens and the people around them. And I think you got to find out, Tony Blinken in this email from the Schweitzer thing the other day is the guy that's setting up the meeting. You guys get Tony. And Tony Blinken now is unconfirmable, right? Unconfirmable, because other information will come out. You got Blinken, you're going to have Kurt Campbell, you're going to have Jake Sullivan. All of his advisors should come forward immediately and just fess up to exactly what they knew and when they knew it, because Biden's involvement with the Chinese Communist Party and he's being bought and paid for by the Chinese Communist Party. Look, essentially, he couldn't get a security clearance right now. I don't know why they haven't pulled a security clearance. I'd be very uncomfortable with what this guy's given, what they've been giving up.
When are we going to hear from the Wall Street Journal?
Just a random name. I can neither confirm nor deny mainstream media. But let's say hopefully tomorrow.
Are we going to get a bombshell today, Steve?
You're going to get a bombshell. You're going to get a tease of a bombshell this afternoon, and you're going to get a bombshell tomorrow morning via Rudy Giuliani.
Stephen K. Bannon
totally separate than China.
Rudy Giuliani, we understand he'll be on our radio show tomorrow. So thank you.
Thursday. Trying to work it for Thursday.
Thursday, after the bombshell. No, the bombshell's Thursday. No. Today's the
Bombshell
tease.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow's a bombshell. Giuliani Thursday. Got it.
You can actually got it. Okay.
Stephen K. Bannon, John Fredericks Radio Network. He'll be on at 10 a.m. Stay with us.